Hello everyone and welcome back to take number 2. I appreciate you all watching earlier and hopefully listening to us try to talk to you and our mouths moving, but not a whole lot coming out. Unfortunately, we were talking to you about our series as to what we've been doing as far as 2021 and achieving goals. Once again, this is the last Friday, the last Facebook Friday for January. So we want to make sure that once again, we're able to take what we've learned and move forward with it through the rest of the year. We've been talking about some goals. Dr. Botros, once again, talk to us a little bit about goals and why it's so important to achieve these goals.
So when it comes, statistically speaking, to looking at the goals, as we talked about for this month here, 86% of us are going to fail the goals that we set out for ourselves by the first week of February. Now, when we look at that, again, I want to be very clear. It's not because we have low, motivation or determination or willpower, or the list may go on and on. The reason being is because the systems that we set into place into trying to achieve those goals are fundamentally not successful for about 86% of us. So today we're going to dive in a little bit deeper into what are some practical ways we can achieve those goals, and not just for a little bit, not for a month or a few weeks or half a year, but long term.
Absolutely. And we talked earlier in the previous videos about creating a vision. The first thing that we need to know is, where are we going to go? So we have to have a vision as to what we want to accomplish. But sometimes that vision can be grandiose, or sometimes that can be very tight and small. We need to create some type of vision as to what we want out of our health for this year. But then once we have that vision, then what do we need to do?
Well, once you have that vision, then there's a few different things we can do. One of them is to figure out what's a good first step to get the ball rolling in the right direction. And so I know a lot of times when we have big goals or ambitious goals, or we're trying something maybe beyond our comfort zones or something we've never achieved before, it can seem a little bit overwhelming and daunting to try to achieve that goal. And I want to let you know that a lot of successful people abide by something called the 1% rule. Okay, so this isn't a political thing about the 1% in Wall Street. What it is very simply, and there are several books that talk about this, is trying to improve towards that goal by just 1%. It can be 1% in a week, 1% in a day, whatever the goal may be. Just try to improve it 1% at a time consistently. So think about, for example, you're trying to get a little bit stronger. I want to work on my muscle strength. Okay, today I will try to push myself 1% harder than I did yesterday. Same thing with the posture. With the posture muscles, for example, it's so easy for them to get fatigued when we're so used to slouching over and sitting this way. So today I'm going to set a timer and see how long I can hold my posture, and tomorrow I'm going to improve it by 1%. And if you do that every day for a year, that's about 37, almost 37 times way better results than if you were not to achieve it that way.
Absolutely. It's a great concept. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down that vision and we're going to start to put it into achievable steps. Now, a lot of times people say, oh, I want to go run a marathon. Okay, so how do you run a marathon? Do you just get off your couch and go? No. There's a program that's out there that's couch to 5K, and then 5K to 10 miles, and then 10 miles to running that marathon. You have to take steps, and you have to set reasonable and rational goals for the time frames that you have. Without that, you're setting yourself up for failure. So this is a really important concept, because what happens is your body has this natural little boost of enjoyment through dopamine. Now, we've talked briefly about dopamine in the past, and dopamine is that sensation you get when you achieve something, when you accomplish something. If you study really hard and then you get that test done and you get an A on that test, yes, there's that pop of dopamine. Or if you are out and about and once again you have a list of things to do and you cross one off, that feels good. Boom, there's that pop of dopamine. Oh, got some organization done. Boom, there's that pop of dopamine. These are really important things. And so we want to achieve that little fun pop of a dopamine as much as we can. So by hitting little goals, we'll continue to get this powerful sensation of happiness and of joy and of wanting to do better. Dopamine is a really interesting thing, and back they thought biologically that it was something that we could use to actually help to feed ourselves and to make sure that we survive. Because if you wait till you have the sensation of hunger, then once again, and many times it's too late. You're not going to be able to find food or eat enough, and that you would actually starve. And so just thinking about food a lot of times will give you a little pop of dopamine. So let's say I'm out on a walk and all of a sudden I see off in the distance, I see an apple tree. Boom, I'm going to get that little pop of dopamine. But every time I move towards that tree, boom, I get a little bit more and a little bit more until I actually achieve my goal of getting to that tree. Once again, when I take that apple, I take a bite, boom, there's another pop of dopamine. Now, oddly enough, eating is one of those things that just naturally gives us some dopamine. But like I said, biologically, that's a really important thing that we can use as motivation for us to achieve our healthcare goals. So once again, we have this vision. We need to start breaking it down. We need to start having tangible goals for us to achieve. We just got through Martin Luther King's holiday, and once again he said, I have a dream. But it wasn't just I have a dream, it was I have a dream. And then he broke down many different things, that little black girls and little white girls and little white boys could be holding hands together in the playground. It was a visual thing, but it was a tangible step that you could take to get towards equality. And we need to have these similar steps as far as our healthcare goals. If we start creating too large of steps, it's going to be an obstacle rather than an advantage. So Dr. Botros, tell us a little bit about some of the healthcare goals that you have. Give us some ideas of what we can do as far as a goal is concerned.
So a really good health goal that I've set out for myself, because I want to see how practical it is, and also because there's tons of health benefits with this, is just increasing the steps that I take in a day. Now, interestingly enough, this year with our health insurance provider, they're having a little competition, kind of, I guess you can call it, and they're giving you a free Fitbit, and I would wear it, and they would track how many steps I'm taking, and from that, if I hit my goal, which is 7,000 in a day, then they will add a little bit, about, I think, 25 cents to my HSA, something like that. But if $1 into my HSA, okay. So it looks like we're living it up here.
It's getting better all the time.
Yeah, that's even better than I expected.
Pop dopamine.
Boom, yep, I'm happy as a clam now. So that's going to be my goal. So hopefully it will arrive in a week or two and you'll see me, wearing it. And I'll continue to try to work on those 7,000 steps in a day, and see how I can achieve that. Now, very, very much like Dr. Van Scoyk said, I'm not going to try to go outside and run and do anything like that. I'm just going to see what's my typical step count in a day and increase it little by little, 1% at a time, maybe 2% at a time, and try to do that consistently. Because that same dopamine neurotransmitter that we have, we don't want to burn it out. And that's something I see quite a bit, right? New Year's time comes around, you're excited, you sign up for the gym, 1-year membership, let's do this, tell all your friends, you buy, all these protein powders, you're excited, you're watching all these YouTube videos, you work out really hard for 2 weeks, and then that dopamine just starts to crash, and it's really hard to be motivated that way. So unfortunately, it might seem a little anticlimactic, but the little and consistent steps is actually what allows people to achieve success towards their goals.
And that allows us to keep our focus, once again, to our goals, the little steps, a little bit here, a little bit more, because there's other things that are out there that also give us dopamine. And dopamine is extremely powerful. So things like gambling, things like alcohol, things like nicotine, things like your cell phone are all highly, highly dopamine sensory. They give you huge pops of that. So once again, if our focus is changing from different things, once again, it'll take us off the path of what we want to be. So we need to make sure that we're using this dopamine properly as we, once again, achieve better healthcare goals rather than watching as much TikTok as you possibly can. So it's really important, once again, to hit these tiny little goals. Now, it can be hard sometimes on your own. So each time that Dr. Botros' patients come in, you want to ask him about how he's doing with his Fitbit. You want to make sure that he's getting his steps in, because that'll hold him accountable, and that'll once again allow him to reach his goals. And sometimes that's another thing that you guys can use as well. You can use a healthcare partner, someone that'll keep an eye on you to make sure that you are hitting your goals. So not everyone needs to use a Fitbit. It's a great way to track, health and benefits. But if your vision board and your vision doesn't have that, great. Maybe you need to start doing some jumping jacks. Okay, how many do I need to do? Well, a couple a day. That's fantastic. Let's start with that, and then after this week, do a little bit more. Once again, 1%, 2%. See what your body feels like, and then move from there. If you don't like to do jumping jacks and you want to do push-ups, great, do push-ups. If you like that core feeling of strength and stability, getting some sit-ups in there is another great opportunity for us to do that. But set a number. I'm going to do 5 today. I'm going to do 10 today. I'm going to do 100 today. Set an actual number that you can achieve, and then do a little bit more. And then do a little bit more as your body allows you to start to move towards that healthcare goal. So, yes, go ahead.
Oh, and so the one thing I also wanted to add is there is a cycle when it comes to developing a habit, okay? So ideally what we want to do is make this where this is so ingrained in us and it's so practical that we don't have to, use up our willpower to try to do it. It's just part of a habit. So the first part of a habit is going to be the reminder, okay? So I wake up in the morning, put on the Fitbit, and I see it's at 0. That's my reminder, okay, time to get the ball rolling. And so you can set an alarm on your phone, you can have an accountability partner or a health coach or whoever you may want or whatever way it's going to use to trigger that reminder for you. The vision board is also a great reminder. Then what that leads to is that leads to the routine. So I see it's at 0, I look at my vision board, I want to reach this goal, I have that number that's very specific, I'm going to do that routine. And then afterward comes the reward. So those are the 3 R's, the routine, the reminder, routine, and the reward. And so how am I going to reward myself after I hit those goals? Well, I will be getting $1 to invest into my health. Or I can, buy myself something like a nice healthy treat, for example. And you want to make sure that you reward yourself with something that aligns with your goals. So I'm not going to take 7,000 steps and reward myself with a cupcake. That would be counterintuitive, because then you're going to have to try to break that habit.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. We want those goals to once again all be moving in the same direction. If everyone in your boat is rowing in the same place, you're going to get there a lot faster. But if all of a sudden that cupcake is starting to move you backwards, then you want to stay away from that if you have to or if you can. So once again, think about your vision. Think about your goals. Start setting some goals today. Not tomorrow, not past the weekend. You got to set them today and start them today. I'm going to go home myself, do my workout after work. I'm really excited about it. Actually, I thought about it the second that I got up. I said, all right, here's what my day is going to look like. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually upping my weights today, so I'm pretty excited about that at home. So once again, tangible steps, tiny little steps will get you that dopamine, but will get you to the results that you want as well. So comment, once again, what are your goals? What are your steps? Let us know. Once again, hold Dr. Botros accountable for his steps, and hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have questions about our next contest, let us know. But otherwise, we'll be back in February with our next Facebook Friday. See you then.